Hey, 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 happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is Monday, February 7th, 2022. This is live stream 749. This is your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then we take a look at a tabletop game. So tonight, we are actually going to dive in and take a look at Tiny Epic Dungeons, as well as its Stories expansion from Gamelyn Games. So if you are tuning in, watching live, to check that out, be about 25 minutes or so, because we do tackle the tabletop gaming news of the day first, and then we jump on in and take a peek at a game. So just stay tuned. If you are watching after this stream ends, 30 minutes or more after it ends, there will be timestamps. So if you don't want to check out the tabletop gaming news, but I don't know why you not want to, seeing that you're a gamer, right? That's why you're watching this. But you can. So there will be timestamps. You can jump right ahead. Do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Haunted West from Darker Hue Studios. Had a few videos pop up late last week and into the weekend, so hopefully you've checked those out. Also had a review of the starter set for the One Ring second edition from I almost said Cubicle 7. It's Free League Publishing. I'm just so used to the One Ring and Adventures in Middle Earth being from Cubicle 7. It's strange to have to stop and go, oh, wait a second, hang on. It's Free League Publishing, everybody. All right. So, also want to mention, if you're, done watching videos on the channel, swing over to thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. That's where you'll find that review of the One Ring second edition starter set. And, of course, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also do want to point out this is a live stream. So that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is the Madman joining us as well. The Madman happens to be one of our chat moderators. Flaming Huron is with us as well. He's our other chat moderator. John Vogel's in chat, and I think that is it so far. The Madman says they got their copy of Tiny Epic Dungeons, I should say, on Saturday. So did I. I received mine. I did not back the Kickstarter. I actually had, it was a late pledge. I did a late pledge. I know people are thinking, wait a second, what? It's not a review copy? No, it is not. And I'll talk about that in a little more detail when we jump into the review section. Clint Gibson is in chat with us as well. So you may have heard, if you were here right at the beginning, this is live stream 749. Tomorrow night makes, carry the one, 750. So we will be celebrating. I will be doing giveaways, but you have to watch live. And I will say, if you are a role-playing game fan or player or game master, you will be much more excited about the giveaways than if you are strictly a board gamer. Just how it works. Lil Will is with us, pointing out that they are waiting for their Tiny Epic Dungeons to arrive in Canada. Flaming Heron says, I heard giveaways. Yes, and I will mention that again as we wrap up the show a bit later on. So let's jump on into the news, because hitting stores next month from Castillo Games is a family game rescuing Robin Hood. Here's the scoop. Robin Hood has been captured. As the leaders of the merry band, you have only 5 days to come to his rescue, using all the wit, brawn, and stealth you can muster. Each turn, you work together to rescue villagers captured by the sheriff of Nottingham's men. As more people are rescued, new villagers join your side. Once you've built up your merry band, you select your dream team, storm the castle, and fight one final battle to rescue Robin Hood. Dozens of villagers have been arrested by the sheriff of Nottingham. They look to Robin Hood to save them, but there's just one problem. The sheriff has captured Robin Hood too. But there is hope. It's a time to strategize together and press your luck to rescue villagers. As your band grows, prepare to storm the castle and rescue Robin. All players cooperate together in this exciting family deck building game. It's a lighthearted deck building game for the whole family with unique press your luck attacks that encourage collaboration. There's a rich theme that's engaging for both adults and children, and it includes backstories for all 89 characters. Build a merry band of villagers ready to defeat the sheriff of Nottingham using their wit, stealth, brawn, and jolliness. Gameplay includes mental math. I'm out right there. That's it. Guess I won't be playing this game. Elementary statistics, and is packed full of history, great puns, and fun strategies to discover. Rescuing Robin Hood is for 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. Plays around 20 minutes per player, and it's going to carry an MSRP of $44.99 when it arrives in March. Flaming Heron points out cute art style. So does Lil Will. I agree. That was one of the reasons that I'm sharing this, is I thought this art style really was eye-catching. It reminds me of Wildermyth. If you have played Wildermyth at all, that is a PC fantasy kind of role-playing game. And it's actually a lot of fun. It is. There's a lot to it. But we're not talking about Wildermyth. We're talking about rescuing Robin Hood. And the art style definitely looks pretty good. Castillo Games, I believe, is out of Madison, Wisconsin. So they're right here in the hood. They're here in the Midwest. So very cool. I thought I'd, share a little love for a relatively local company. All right. On to the next news piece. Arriving this spring from Paizo Inc. and Gale Force 9 is Pathfinder Level 20. Here's what I know. I need just a few experience points to hit level 20. There better be some kobolds down there. Here you are, minding your own business with some of your best friends, enjoying the leftover scraps buried in the filth of your cave, when you hear a human curse as they knock some rocks free, and then you hear the most terrifying words you've ever heard, words spoken of in legend. You thought they were just a myth to scare young kobolds into obedience. In level 20, the players take on the role of kobolds in their den, scampering away from a 19th level fighter who only needs 5 experience points to hit level 20. They'll stop at nothing until they kill a few kobolds and hit that magical gateway, which leads them into near divine levels of power. On your turn, you'll play cards that help avoid the fighters, run away, and do everything you can to put obstacles or other players between yourself and the humans. Your goal is to not be the kobold at the end of the fighter's sword, with the game ending either with one surviving player or else forcing the fighters to flee in shame. Pathfinder level 20 is for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $30 when it arrives in April. There was an announcement, I think it was last week, if I remember correctly, that Paizo is teaming with Gale Force 9 in order to produce board games. And this is the first. This seems like it's going to be pretty light. But I think the second one that's coming, I want to say it's in the summer, appears to be a relatively hefty game. I got to be honest, I'm very surprised that at no point has Paizo looked to create almost like their own Descent, like Fantasy Flight games. I would have thought maybe Paizo would have looked into something like that, created their own, and then have, miniatures, obviously enough, or even standees. You don't necessarily need miniatures. But I thought they could take a lot of their adventure paths and create almost like adventure books where you have, you open each page and each page is like the layout of, kind of like Descent would have been, except Descent doesn't use like a book. What is the game? It's Stuffed Fables. Isn't that what it's called, from Plaid Hat? Where you play the stuffies, you play the little stuffed toys trying to protect the kid. That's got one of these books that open up, and each of the pages is like another chapter, another encounter in the adventure. So I'm excited to see Pathfinder getting some more board game love out there. And I was kind of surprised at how quickly, after the announcement, we have a title coming out. Doug Roberts is with us. Christopher Rush has swung on in as well. I don't think I've missed anybody in chat, right? I think we're all good. Talk a little role-playing game news. Coming soon from Free League Publishing is a new cinematic adventure for the alien role-playing game. Here's the skinny on Heart of Darkness. Free League Publishing and 20th Century Studios have announced Heart of Darkness, an upcoming new cinematic scenario for the multiple award-winning Alien role-playing game. Alien Heart of Darkness is a standalone adventure, but also serves as a conclusion to the Draconis Strain saga, begun in the cinematic scenario Chariot of the Gods and continued in Destroyer of Worlds, all written by Andrew E.C. Gaska. This expansion is designed for 3 to 5 players, plus the game mother. I just think that's such a silly term, and I know why they used it. I get it. I understand. I know all about what the mother is on the ship. I get it. I just think it sounds kind of goofy. And is just like if it was Game Father, it'd be like, what? It's our role-playing game of Raised by Wolves. I'm the Game Father. Be like, what? This expansion's adventure is a spiraling descent into soul-crushing madness. See, I don't mind madness. It's just when it's soul-crushing. That's when it really gets me down. Heart of Darkness will come in a box set, including a range of maps, cards, handouts, and pre-generated characters with a preliminary MSRP set to $29.99. The Alien RPG Core Rulebook or Alien Starter Set is required to play. Heart of Darkness will be offered as a pre-order and PDF pre-release on the official Alien RPG website later this winter. The physical retail release will arrive this summer. Good to see Free League continuing to support Alien. I know a lot of people were a little concerned. I was kind of curious. One thing I will mention is that I noticed that they had been, I don't think they've yet to actually release a campaign adventure. They've all been the cinematic adventures, not the, because there's like the two styles of adventures for Alien. I thought the starter set was very, very cool. I've actually never seen the full core book that actually has all the like campaign rules and that in it. But it's nice to see that we've got more Alien role-playing game adventuring on the horizon. A Valentine's Day themed adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics is now available from Goodman Games. Here's the dope on Love in the Age of Gong Farmers. An all-new Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game adventure for level 2 characters. In this special Valentine's Day themed adventure, the player characters play a group of adventures. Wouldn't it be the players play a group of adventures, not the player characters? Player characters would be a group of adventurers who face the wrath of an offended deity who has substituted the heart of a young cleric with that of a mechanical bear. To save the cleric, the PCs must face candy heart puzzles, feral fluffies, and other obstacles if they are to keep hope alive. And once again, no love in the Age of Gong Farmers. Originally conceived and performed as the Lost Heart of Valentinius in the Funnel of Love for Spawn of Cyclops Con 2021, with the winners of the Love in the Age of Gong Farmers contest. This 16-page adventure is available with the PDF from Goodman Games for $9.99, or you can grab the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG for $6.99. I had thought that there had previously been a Valentine's Day themed adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I reviewed it. It was The Corpse That Love Built. And then I double checked, and it's actually a Halloween adventure. So this is the first Valentine's themed Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure. And as Christopher Rush points out, gotta love some good old DCC wackiness. I agree. I like their themed, holiday adventures. They tend to be pretty wild. And yes, relatively gonzo as well. Omenal has joined us in chat. Omenal pointed out Colonial Marines is a campaign for Alien, the role-playing game, that I did not get a chance to take a peek at. So that is why I didn't realize that. Omenal also points out that the scenarios are pretty good. When I was talking about Game Mother, Christopher says, I'm the game's operations director. God. There we go. Andy Sykes is in chat with us. Welcome aboard, Andy. Let's talk about my final news piece. The latest supplement for Traveler has arrived from Mongoose Publishing. And here's the deets on the Spinward Extents. The Spinward Extents are the border between the familiar and the unknown. Pioneering and adventurous Imperials, Zodani, Aslan, even Vargar have reached the Extents. Some have dwelt there for centuries or millennia, but they are far from their ancestral homes. Native races have forged their own empires across these stars. In the extant, the daring can make their fortunes, gain fame or infamy, and influence the course of events for entire worlds or distant governments. Alien races, I should say, alien races, forgotten mysteries, bitter rivalries, and great opportunities await under the light of inconstant giant and dead stars. Spinward Extents presents two complete sectors near the edge of charted space, the Beyond and the Vanguard Reaches. The Beyond is a borderland between Aslan expansion and human pocket empires, both ancient and new. At the end of Imperial courier routes, it is home to the alien Shrednai. Shrednai? I don't know. No clue. Isolated worlds and mysterious entities. The Storm Knights hold the line in an uneasy truce with Aslan clans, but other dangers and many opportunities await. The Vanguard Reaches is the spinward edge of settled space, a sector of proxy states for the distant Third Imperium and Zudani Consulate. The sector is home to the warlike Esliot and peaceful Murians, dying red giant stars, and the Helix Nebula. Warfare, politics, piracy, and sparse starscapes challenge travelers who live and work in this distant sector. This includes two huge colored poster maps of the Beyond and Vanguard Reaches sectors. I gotta be honest, I am not sure if this is going to be a boxed set. I think it is. I'm just not positive because it's not made apparent over on the Mongoose website. But I can't tell you that the 368 page, I'm guessing soft cover, is available as a pre-order for $59.99. Once again, as I said, I'm not sure if it's a box set. I think it might be. But you can grab the PDF right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $34.99. Boy, I tell you, Mongoose really is cranking out the Traveler goodies. And I'm kind of curious how they've been doing. I share news pieces about them all the time. The reason why I ask is because Mongoose has a reputation. Now, I don't know if they're, wiping that reputation out or not, but their reputation has been they'll release something that's just fantastic, like that starter set box, which is essentially the game. It is not a starter set like we're used to seeing starter sets, like the RuneQuest starter set or Call of Cthulhu starter set or Alien, the role-playing game starter set. The Traveler starter set is all the rules for the game. But then they also have a habit of releasing a couple of things in between that are just not edited well and not great value. I don't know. It's just that's the knock that Mongoose has had against them in the past. I really am hoping that they've kind of straightened all that out because I like Traveler. I think Traveler is a fantastic science fiction role playing game that you can do anything. I mean, you can do any genre you want with Traveler. You can do hard science fiction. You can do space opera. You can do a bit of both. However you like to play your science fiction role playing games, Traveler provides. Andy says Traveler's costing them a fortune, having rediscovered it last year after a 30-year hiatus. Yes, that is something else that I do have to point out. Yeah, Traveler's a bit pricier than most other role-playing games. Like I said, when they release something that's excellent, I don't really have qualms about having to pay, top dollar for a role playing game product that you're going to get hundreds of hours of entertainment out of. Don't know. So, anybody out there, if you've been picking up all of the recent Traveler releases, let me know. Let me know how they've been doing. Have they been really solid, or is it still a little hit or miss? Omanal says, looking it over so far, it's bad that they did not ever explore it before this year. Can't compare to Imperium, but the 2,300 PDFs that they've seen are looking good so far. Yes, that's right, because Omanal's providing us with a review over at thegaminggang.com. Flaming Heron says, yeah, snap up the bundle for this. It's only PDFs, but yeah, got some games for it. I saw that Chris Spivey, the lead designer of Haunted West, is getting ready to run a Traveler campaign. I think it's the first time. Chris Spivey's ever run Traveler. And it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, nice. Very nice. And then, of course, everybody knows Seth Sikorsky. Isn't that how it's pronounced? Tackles a lot of Traveler stuff, and he does great videos. Really fun videos as well. That is the news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like this video, if you like the channel, if you like the Gaming Gang, if you like what I do, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or some soda by going to paypal.me/thegaminggang. And thankfully, there are people who use our banner ads who go over to paypal.me and super appreciate all of that as well. Jack the NPC, Omanal points out, yes, from Seth's videos. Lil Will says, off topic, but I have just got into Too Many Bones and I love it. Hashtag late to the party. Hashtag never been to the party. I actually stopped in at, it was Origins. The last Origins I was at. Because I don't think that company actually goes to Gen Con. I can't remember the company. And Swarkowski. There you go. Thank you, Chris Tiffer. I was just going to leave it at Chris, and I'm like, ooh, what if they're one of these people who does not like being, like, having their name shortened? So I was like, oh, better throw in that Tiffer. Anyway, so I swung in, talking to somebody, gave him a card, told him who I was. I was interested in learning more about the game, maybe doing an interview. And they sort of had this attitude like, who the hell are you? Get out of here. Like, geez, thanks. So that's why you never see any news about that game. So, Will points out what the game company is. I won't say it. I'm not trying to rip on them. You never know who you're talking to when you pop up to an exhibit area at a convention. But I wasn't asking for a review copy. I was asking to maybe interview somebody to find out more about the game, because I had heard from some other people that it was pretty good. In fact, I know I'm going off on a little tangent here. My buddy Herman Luttman, game designer Herman Luttman, probably best known for Dawn of the Zeds. Huge thumbs up with that. But he also does like war games and other projects. He's got a zombie game. Is it The Terror on Plum Isle? I know it's Plum Isle. I just don't recall exactly what the title of it is. It's going to be coming from GMT. It was up on their P500 and got the number of pre-orders to go to print. So that should be coming out sometime. I don't want to say soon, because the way things are going, you never know. But that will be coming out. So, and I believe it's more of a kind of higher level zombie game where it's not like you're just controlling a few different characters. I think it's going to be a little similar to his Dead Reckoning game. Maybe. Anyway, Herman Lutman goes to Origins with some of his friends, and I can't remember their names. And I'm like talking to one of them, and this guy was like probably 55, 60 years old, and the biggest fanboy of Too Many Bones. He just could not stop talking about it. Every time I'd run into him, he just kept, I was like, is that the only game you own? So that was actually why I went up to the exhibit booth. Because otherwise, I mean, I couldn't really tell what the game was. It was one of these exhibitors that has like a bunch of artwork and stuff like that, and very nicely designed, but they didn't have any games set up for like demoing or anything like that. So it's kind of like, oh, well. Christopher says they can be Chris or Christopher, but thanks for the consideration. Omenal says they remember going to job fairs that blew them off initially. And then Omenal graduated and then decided they were going to blow them off when the companies wanted them. I've had that happen. Omenal says people are short-sighted sometimes. Yeah, well, once again, and I will kind of touch on this when we get into the Tiny Epic Dungeons, but I can understand where some of these companies come from, and we'll get into that in just a bit. Anyway, also wanted to mention, if you followed the Gaming Gang and you watch the show from time to time, you know that the new year started off terribly. Within 8 days, the two cats, my cat, my father's cat, both were put to sleep. And it was very depressing. It was very sad. I'm not going to bum you out. I'm here to share fun stuff. So don't get concerned. I'm just saying, just setting a scene here. So a couple of weeks ago, I went and adopted, well, her name was Layla. Now it's Lala. Because I think I mentioned before, I find it creepy when people name animals like human names. Part of it's because I dated a woman who named their dog Richard. No joke. Richard the dog. I thought that was, and the dog was really a sweet dog, but I just thought it was like, this is so bizarre. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, went and adopted Lala from a foster, from a rescue society. And yesterday I went and picked up her partner in crime, Mango. So Mango's a little kitten, although she is stretched out like, how long are you, cat? It's like, what the hell? She is a kitten, though. Yes, so that is Mango. Went and got her yesterday because she had to get spayed. So we had to wait. Otherwise, I would have taken them both home at the same time. Strangely enough, Lala is supposed to like Mango and wasn't too keen on the other animals. And there were quite a few at this person's home. And I brought Mango in, and Lala was not happy. She'd been here 2 weeks thinking, oh, yes, it's just me. It's I'm away from all those dogs and the other cats. And so she was a little hissy, a little, when Mango would come up to her, because Mango's a kitten. She's curious. And they were in the same foster. So today's been a lot different. They were actually sleeping on my bed about 2 feet apart as I came down here to get ready for the show. So they are getting along much better. Lil Will says their dog's name is Lala. Yeah, it was kind of funny because my father's like, Lala? And I'm like, what, you've never heard a pet named Lala? Like, no. I'm like, well, I'm not naming her Richard. Lil Will says, can you say your name, her name, or can you say your name, her name, ears perk up? I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, Lil Will. Yes, and I did see where it's like, just call a cat because they don't really respond to names. They don't usually. Smokey did. My cat Smokey, she responded to Smokey. Or at least when you use her name, she would look. So Lil Will says that was supposed to say every time you say her name, her ears perk up. I'll tell you, Lala is like bionic hearing because she was asleep. I don't know how deep asleep she was. And the door opened and it wasn't real loud. I'm not saying the door to the bedroom or something. I'm talking the door to the house. And she was in the bedroom and all of a sudden it's like, zing. It's like 100% awake. But I do understand that cats have an oddball way of sleeping. I have never seen a cat with one eye closed sleeping. I know it's a normal thing. I just have not seen it. Omenal says, actually, they like cats that think they are dogs. That's usually how my cats are. I don't have cats. I don't know if it's me. And I've said it before. Little kids and animals adore me. Everybody else, jury's still kind of out. But they're never like, where you're like, oh, you're petting the cat, and the cat's like, oh, I'm done with you. I'm walking away. Usually my cats are like attached to my hip. So Russell Higgins and Grumbling Gronyar has arrived. Double G says, I love cats. People, not so much. So yeah, so now it's Lala and Mango, and that's it. It's just the two. Aren't going to be any more cats hanging around, just those two. So tonight, I am going to jump on in. We are going to be taking a look at the Tiny Epic Dungeons and its Stories expansion from Gamelyn Games in just a quick moment. But first, a short intermission.
We are about to witness the takeoff of the first manned rocket to outer space. We pick up the count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
We're off to visit the planets. There are treats galore in the stars. Venus is loaded with candy, and ice cream is found upon Mars. The soda pop's fizzing on Saturn. When you're thirsty, it sure hits the spot. And Jupiter's really jumping with popcorn that's buttered and hot. But the best of them all is the planet where all of these treats are at hand. And that is the spot we now head for, our theater refreshment stand.
Yes, I kind of got a kick out of sharing that drive-through. What did I say? Drive-through again. Drive-in intermission video last week. So what I'm going to do is on every show, because I have a bunch of them. I wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind back in 1959, but I just like these old, intermission little clips. So I'm going to be sharing those on the show. Just, because I'm a goofball. All right. Anyway, tonight I am going to take a look at Tiny Epic Dungeons from Gamelyn Games. It's designed by Scott Almes. Artwork provided by Nicoletta Vasvi and Ian Rosenthaler. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 60 minutes, and can be pre-ordered for $35. It is arriving to most backers right now. I know we heard up in Canada they have not received theirs yet, but it is shipping. When it's going to arrive in stores, I am not sure. The Stories expansion, which we're also going to take a look at, is also designed by Scott Almes with artwork provided by Nicoletta Vasvi, Ian Rosenthaler, and Benjamin Schulman. The player count, the age range, playtime, all the same as the core game. You can pre-order the Stories expansion for $15. So let's swing on over to the other camera, because here we're going to start off with Tiny Epic Dungeons. This is the deluxe edition. So when I said $35 for the pre-order, that is for the deluxe edition, as we're going to take a look at right here. Russell Higgins says they have not received theirs. So Omanal says, I just have to do the old Flash Gordon style clips for my reviews. Paul Nolan is joining us. Hello, Paul. Welcome aboard. This about 92 has popped on into chat as well, saying that their copy of Tiny Epic Dungeons arrived today. So, do want to mention, this is not a review copy from Gamelyn Games. I actually did a late pledge on this as well, as many of you out there, or a lot of you, backed the Kickstarter. So I have had folks in the past ask me why I have not reviewed some of the Gamelyn Games releases. Are they mad at me or something like that? Because I didn't review Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. I think there was another one that was right around that, either right before or right after that. And that's not that, as far as I know, that's not the case. But the thing is, usually I say hello to Michael Coe at like Origins or Gen Con, and then he'll give me the latest release to do a review of. I am not one of these people who reaches out to the different publishers saying, hey, I really want to see blah, blah, blah. Please send me this or whatever. I just don't do it. It's just never been my style. Now, if it's a company that I work with, their PR people all the time, and that they tell me that they want me to contact them if there's something I want to look at. So that's why I didn't review Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, or I think there were a couple that I did not do reviews of or share video coverage of. All right, enough of that. Just wanted to point that out. That kind of piggybacks on what I was talking about with Too Many Bones. I'm not one of these guys who, I'm at a convention and walking up to companies that don't have any idea who I am and be like, yeah, give me review copies. I see people do it all the time. Other thing too is there's so many reviewers out there now. So, you can't expect review copies of everything. These companies have to turn a profit. So Tiny Epic Dungeons is a cooperative game split into 2 acts. In both acts, players struggle against the waning torchlight as it decreases each turn. That's a little Thunderstone-ish there. When the torch goes out, the heroes are forever lost in the darkness. In Act 1, explore the dungeon, fight enemies, and evade traps in effort to find the boss's lair. In Act 2, engage in an epic battle against the boss. Can you brave the dungeon and overcome the boss's fury? I don't know. Can we? All right, let's jump on in. Melwinius from York has popped on in. Paul Nolan said the snow and ice has kept him home from work, staying on the mountain and actually catching the show live. So we got an adventurer's manual. Now there are miniatures in here, and I'm kind of curious how big the miniatures are, because that is the size of the expansion, and there's supposed to be 8 minis in here. So it's like, I highly doubt they're going to be like 28 or 32 millimeter. So here's the adventurer's manual. So we got our components. So we've got 8 hero miniatures, 8 hero mats, a torch mat and torch marker, dungeon cards, loot cards, spell cards, got goblin cards, minion cards, and boss mats. There's the boss token. I like the boss token. We'll see all this stuff. So we've got 4 goblin tokens, 8 minion tokens, and then we've got some other. We've got hero dice and an enemy die. Prologue: the Goblin's coast is under siege by an evil that lurks in the nearby hills. All right, and your heroes are out there to take it down. We've got our game set up. One aspect of the Tiny Epic game line that I have always found really interesting, even though, I mean, there have been a couple of releases that I was like, they're okay. Most of them I've been blown away by, and I've thought they are fantastic, at least most that I've reviewed. But one thing there's never any doubt about is just how much gameplay is packed into such a tiny footprint, such a small box. So winning and losing conditions. Hero attributes, we've got health, focus, speed, defense, as well as strength, agility, and intellect, which are skills that are used for skill checks. On your turn, you can move, perform 1 heroic action, perform any number of free actions. You get to perform any or all of those. Oh, okay. So we've got moving, revealing new dungeon rooms, dungeon size limit, checking for danger, performing heroic acts, different types of heroic actions. Resting is a heroic action. I am a hero. I think I'll just take a nap now. Searching the room, disarming a trap, casting a spell. So we have enemy counterattacks, damage, and killing enemies. An unconscious hero. It's like if your health is reduced to 0, you are unconscious. I don't think there's player elimination in this. Will ask, am I wrong thinking you are not able to use just one hero? I don't know. I know you can play one player, but I would take a guess you probably have to have a team of heroes that you'll use. Discovering loot and spells. Sets of legendary items. The boss's lair. There you go, solo play. Tiny Epic Dungeons can be played solo. You must use at least 2 heroes. There you go. There's our answer. Tracking each one's stats, loot, and spells, and location in the dungeon separately. However, you can also control 3 or 4 heroes. Regardless of how many players are participating, the number of heroes used is the player count. Oh, look at this. We get a little fold out. So we get the final battle. So this is like Act 2, right? Attacking the boss, counterattacks from the boss. Get some icon references. So this is a bit of a reference sheet on the back here. All in all, what do we got? 20 pages of rules. As I mentioned, I'm always amazed by how much gameplay is packed into these Tiny Epic games. That's kind of cool. The little insert. Like that. Nice. Okay. So here we've got our different mats. Speaking of mats, I am pretty sure, not positive, but I'm pretty sure that there is a play mat available from Gamelyn Games for Tiny Epic Dungeons. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Potions and Spells. Mini expansion. Ooh. So I think that might be these cards here. Okay, put that to the side for right now. I believe these are Kickstarter exclusives. I think we got 2 more bosses here. Aha, here we got the miniatures. We'll save the minis for last. Take a look at them. And they look pretty close to 28 mil. Maybe a little small. Madman says, yes, there's a game mat. Player mats too. Okay, so we've got a variety of different decks. So we have these square cards. Because I know. So they have a linen finish. Decent thickness on these. Only thing that kind of throws me off when we get like square cards is that you kind of got to go the extra mile to get the sleeves for them. And for me, it just seems it's tougher to find square sleeves than any other, even like tarot card size. All right, so this is some sort of a tracker here. This might be the entrance because it looks like it's like a stairway. Okay, so we've got, this is one of the decks. This is another one. I'm taking a guess. These are probably the rooms in this. Maybe these are the monsters, goblins, the goblin card. Okay, so this is loot. I think it's loot and spells. Oh no, here, these are the goblin cards. Maybe these are the boss cards. All right, let's take a look. What is this? Ah, okay, so these are the spells. So we've got Chain Lightning, Holy Abundance, Bad Man, Cloud of Death, Fireball, Delver's Luck, Conjurer's Gambit, Giant Strength, Eagle Swiftness, Shape of an Eagle, Tempest of Arrows, Dungeon Scry, Dark Bargain, Invisibility, Elemental Charge, and Claw of Darkness. So those are our spells. Let's see, loot. Crossbow, Hookshot, Ruby Figurine, Jade Figurine, Amethyst Figurine. Looks like you get to roll an extra die. Sun Hammer. Where's the daughter hammer? Spiked Buckler. Elven Chain. I like the art. The art's pretty cool. Violet Cape. Cursed Dragon Scale. Ooh, not good. Longsword of the Lion. Shield of the Lion. Plate Mail of the Lion. Greaves of the Lion. Boxer Shorts of the Lion. Nope. Great Axe of the Bear. Throwing Axe is of the Bear. Warhorn of the Bear. Studded Jerkin of the Bear. Lil Will says they got everything that was in the Kickstarter except the bag and dice tray. Got Claw of the Panther, Longbow of the Panther, Cloak of the Panther, Glove of the Panther, Great Staff of the Phoenix, Spell Tome of the Phoenix, Ring of the Phoenix, and Robes of the Phoenix. If I remember correctly, your heroes each come from like a clan. That's where the lion, the phoenix, the panther, the bear come from. And I think they only get to utilize those. And then anything that's just like spiked buckler. Okay. That was the loot. Here's the goblins. It's a stabby goblin. Another stabby goblin. A boomy goblin throwing a bomb. and pokey goblin with a spear, and a shooty goblin with a crossbow. So those are our goblins. And then I think these are the bosses. Oh no, these are different other monsters. Ooze, troglodyte. I'm surprised that they're using that word because people freaked out about troglodytes. That's why they're not called troglodytes anymore in Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Although I'm trying to remember, I'm not overly familiar with first edition Pathfinder. Were there troglodytes or did they call them something else? We got the Minotaur, the ogre, the troll, skeleton, the dungeon crawler, looks like a giant spider, and the dire serpent. Madman says the bag is a bit odd. The zipper's on the bottom. Everything fits in it and it has straps to hold the game mat. Okay, so we got the goblin and the other monsters. Now we have the rooms. And they all have some, I shouldn't say all, some of them have different icons down here. Must be probably to move past that room. I think these are where we're going to run into our our skill checks. Lil Will says, didn't Tiny Epic Dungeons have to change the name from Mind Flayer to just Flayer? Yeah, Mind Flayer, that is a D&D thing, and they will shut you down. No joke. It's like, what's the other one? Is it the Displacer Beast or is it the Blink Dog? I always forget which of the two is the one where it's like, oh, no, don't even think of using that. Perkins Dearborn's with us in chat. Thank you. Have I checked out the minis? No, we're saving those for last, Perkins. I tend to like to save the minis for last. And we are going to look at the stories expansion as well. So probably a little bit longer show than usual. Not a ton, but all right. So just taking a look, we've got, looks like a bridge. Ring of Fire. Although I do not see Johnny Cash on there. Looks like a trap. Looks like a rolling trap. Looks like another trap. Looks like a spiked pit. Ah, there we go. A blade trap. Ah, a locked chest. A regular chest. Looks like there's goodies there. Looks like we got treasure there. It's like more treasure, but I think we got a goblin. I think that's where you draw a goblin card. This looks like honestly, this looks like a lot of fun. I was surprised it took so long for Gamelyn Games to actually create a dungeon delve kind of game. I'm just shocked. I can't say that I know Michael Coe real well, but I know him fairly decently. And I would have thought this would have probably been like one of the first of the Tiny Epic games. Well, I take that back because there's a lot in this. So maybe they would have needed to have actually produced some games before they could go with something of this weight. All right, so those are the rooms. Just going to put this deck all these cards back together here. We have some dice. We've got different kinds of dice, and the dice are cut. They're not painted or silk screened. So I definitely dig that. All right, come on. Here we go. Get a better peek. So some have little symbols on them. We get +2, 4, +1, 5, 6. Like a little heart on there for health. I think these are all the same. Now, we saw that we had like get to roll like a specific die, and they were different colors, but this is the only color that's in here. So, don't know. Definitely like these dice. Those dice will hold up, and got a little design to them. Spiffy looking dice. Got a bunch of wooden tokens. And we still have our mats as well for the monsters and the players. Okay, so we've got these 6 gears that have kind of like a keyhole in them. We have lightning bolts and hearts. This is obviously, and then we got a little black heart, gray heart. These are we're tracking something on the player boards, obviously enough. In fact, we're probably using that as well. So we've got those. This is, I think this was the boss token. It's got almost like a little eye of Sauron on it. Oh, here are the monsters. Okay, so that was the ooze. So we've got all these have. That's kind of cool. Each of the monsters gets its own little wooden token here. There's quite a few of them. And I think we even have the goblins. I think these are the goblins here. Got another one there. And another one there. So yeah, those are the 4 different kinds of goblins right here. And then those are the other monsters, including that as well. Nice. Definitely like this. Of course, and it all depends on how does the game play. But pretty impressive with the content so far. Let's get all that back in here. Okay, here are the mats. Oops. Of course it'd be one sitting out here. Oh, you know what? Maybe those were the bosses. Maybe those weren't just the regular monsters. Maybe those were the bosses. No, it's not. I think the Eye of Sauron is supposed to represent the boss. Okay, so Act 1 is your tracker. I think this is where you track the torchlight too. Okay, so here's the goblins. Then there's Act 2. So if your light goes out, I think that's where it's like, oh, you're all lost forever. Coco B has popped in. I know Sarah was watching, and I don't think I said hello to Sarah. Sorry about that. So we have 6. Wait a second. I think there are 8. I think all in all, I think we've got 8 of the heroes. So here's something that I see Gamelyn Games do on occasion with their games is if they have some sort of like a player mat or something like that, they'll have something on one side. So here we've got our heroes. And then on the back, they'll all have the same thing where you're actually using that as your reference. That is really cool. I really like how Gamelyn has done that. So we got a half orc barbarian. We've got an elf sorceress, a dwarf cleric, an elf ranger, a wood elf rogue, a human paladin, an ancient wizard, and a dwarf fighter. So those are our 8 heroes. This is your player mat here. Then whatever heroes aren't being used in the game, you're going to use the backside for your references for those. Okay, here are our boss monsters. So I'm taking a guess. We're going to randomly select one of these. And then we're going to track our progress on this side. And when we get to Act 2, when we take on the boss, then we're going to flip it over. And looks like we've got some special abilities. This is the Goblin King. Get over there and give him the stick. Are the special abilities. We've got the Dragon, Inferno, and Scorch. We have the Hydra, Bite and Regrowth. The Pharaoh, this looks like a lich, Plague and Sacrifice. The Gorgon, Chokehold and Stone Gaze. And the Seer, which looks suspiciously like a beholder without the tentacles, with the eyes, but it's called the Seer. And Mindblade and Cosmic Shift. So those are the boss monsters. And these mats and everything, these also are it's decent thickness, not super thick, but they'll hold up. Okay, so finally in here, well, okay, not finally. We got 2 more boss monsters. We got the Demon Lord with Hellfire and Vaporize and the Lich. Okay, so that other one really isn't the Lich. Soul Siphon Corrosion, as well as these monsters. So we got potions and spells. So we got some additional cards. This is a little mini expansion, which I kind of have a feeling is another of the Kickstarter exclusives. So we get another room. It's like a laboratory. We get more, a couple of monsters. So Vampire Imp and the Wraith, which are these. Those 2 here. Get more goblins. We got the Mixie Goblin. And we have another Mixie Goblin. Perkins is asking, what's the age for players and number of players? It is ages 14 and up. I gotta be honest. Gamelyn does the 14 and up because of the small pieces. That's why it's 14 and up. Because of this stuff. I'm looking at this game, I'm thinking 12. It is for 1 to 4 players. So here we got these are the potions. Epic Mug of Ale. Okay, I'm digging that. Witch's Brew. Bottle O Energy. Healing Potion. Magic Elixir. Haste Drop. Mind Tonic. And Strength Filter. All right, sweet. And then we've got some quick rules explaining the potions and perils. So talking about the other monsters as well. All of this is in the deluxe edition of Tiny Epic Dungeons. which you can snag for $35 as a pre-order right now. So we have actually 10 boss monsters, 8 heroes. We've got the little expansion there with the rooms, the new monsters. We've got the dice. We've got all these tokens. And we've got the various decks of cards. Lastly, we're going to look at the minis. And these are about, I'd say about 24 mil. So that looks like that's the sorceress. Here is either the dwarf fighter or the dwarf cleric. Detail's pretty good. Detail on these is pretty good and not real soft plastic either. So these should paint up pretty nicely. Paul Lowen says, full screen mini time. Perkins agrees, saying, yeah, it looks like 12 years old is about right. There we go. This is the Paladin, I think. I think that's the Paladin. Although Paladins would usually have a sword. I mean, that's kind of, the given. Okay, so we've got another. Maybe, okay, I think this is the cleric. Yes, there are 8 minis for each of the heroes. And then the stories expansion we're going to take a peek at. That is also got 8 minis in it. So we have a grand total of 16 heroes to choose from. All right, so that's the rogue. That is the elven rogue. Wood elf rogue, I think it was. All right, here is our half orc. This is our wizard. I think he was a wizard, right? I don't think they said mage. Perkins says the game is free. The minis cost $5 per mini. Actually, a little less than that because it's a $35 game. Doug Roberts says, they look safe. I don't think they're Tide Pods. All right. So those are our miniatures. And I will kind of spread them around a little bit. In the like box here. Of course, I'll sort through this and get this a little better. But I mean, this box is packed. It really is jam-packed. So all those goodies is what we find when we take everything from Tiny Epic Dungeons outside the box. Now let's look at Tiny Epic Stories. The heroes huddle around the campfire, comforted by its warmth, but weary of the dangerous woods that surround them. Journeying to Goblin's Coast from lands across Ogmore, each adventurer has a story to tell to their new acquaintances. Some are here for fame and glory, others for coin, and some have more nefarious motives. But for the moment, these unlikely companions are allies, agreed to face this daunting task together, enter the dungeon, defeat its bosses, complete its quests, and save the world. Save the cheerleaders, save the world. Okay, let's jump on in here. This is not as deep. I believe this creates kind of a story aspect, thus the name of the expansion, Stories. So here we have our story book. Guessing it's just our rules. Got the prologue, an overview. Stories are additional objectives the party must complete before they can defeat the boss. The epic dungeon adds the challenge of 3 distinct dungeon levels, as well as multiple bosses. Stories can also be included, adding a more dire challenge. So, talking about stories, so we've got story cards, setting up the dungeon deck, objective tokens, completing a story. Then we get the epic dungeon, which is kind of a campaign game, it seems like, or just a much longer dungeon delve. So we get some new free actions. Talking about the 3 different levels, battling 2 bosses, and then we get a little map of Ogmore and kind of a close in on the Goblin's Coast, and some icon references on the back. So here is the back of the box top. That's cool. So we get the map of Ogmore. So we've got some new tokens. We get a second boss token there as well. Got new minis, new cards, as well as Mighty Goblin, and new bosses and new heroes. So first off, let's take a look at the different cards we've got here. So these are the story cards with the red border. So we've got Sacrifice a Minion, Rescue the Adventurers, A Dimensional Debt, The Golden Phoenix, sounds like a restaurant, The Pyrotechnic Heist, Curse of the Hobgoblin, Purify the Aquifer, and Scry into the Future. So those are the story cards. I'm guessing we choose one. I don't think each of the characters would have one, each of the heroes, because there's only 8. So I'm thinking we probably only have one, which is an objective. Okay, so we got some new rooms. Yep. So that looks like that's a descent into a different level. That is a dungeon. So we got a couple of prisoners there. That looks like that was the Phoenix. It's like a bunch of fireworks and explosives. And then some sort of a pool. So we got some new monsters. Just a couple. We've got the fire elemental. And the golem. Got new loot, new goodies. Got a lot, actually. Mage Blade of the Scarab. Ward of the Scarab. Vestment of the Scarab. Orbs of the Scarab. Fangs of the Viper. Smoke Pellets of the Viper. Shadow G of the Viper. Eyes of the Viper. Dungeon Map. Bedrolls. Everlit Torch. And the Ceremonial Spear. So that's the gear. And then we've got 2 new goblin cards, and I think it's the same card. Oh, no, it's different. They're different goblins. We got Mighty Goblin and Spelly Goblin. Madman says, I'm always impressed with how much content Gamelyn gets into their tiny epic games. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying before, regardless, I mean, like I said, there's been a couple of titles that I thought were all right. But the majority of the Gamelyn Games tiny epic line that I've reviewed, I've thought were just awesome. And that's the thing. Even the ones that I thought were okay still had tons of gameplay packed in. So we've got some new tokens. So we got another of the Dark Hearts, which I think, we got a couple of them. I think those track our progress on the acts. So these are objectives, little objective tokens. We've got the golem and the fire elemental. And then we've got the second boss token as well. So those are the new tokens. So we've got new heroes. I think we might have new boss monsters too. I'm not positive. Let's take a look. Yep, a couple of new bosses. So our heroes, we've got an elf warlock, human psionic. Is that Clotho? I'm Clotho. Pandakan brewmaster. It's kind of a panda creature. Human adventurer. Yeah, okay. Lara Gambit. Guardian of the Order. Sir Gamelyn. Huh, that looks familiar. Where have I seen that before? A Dryad Druid. A Halfling Bard. Yeah, we didn't have any halflings in the other. And we've got a human monk. Then our two big bosses is the Tinkerer. And there we go. There's our Mind Lasher. Artwork doesn't look anything like a Mind Flayer. Which is fine, because probably would have gotten in trouble. Nick Townsend is with us in chat as well. Howdy, Nick. Okay. So lastly, we are going, why am I putting that in the top? Duh. We're going to take a look at the new miniatures. All right, so here, right off the bat, here's Sir Gamelyn. I'm kidding, it's Sir Gamelyn. There we go, so he's a knight. This looks like that might be the warlock. I gotta be honest, I forget what they were. So this looks like a bard, but that's certainly not a halfling. That's not a halfling. It's the same size as everybody else. That's kind of weird. Maybe they're not to scale. So here's the monk. That's the monk there. This is Lara the Adventurer. This is the panda brewmaster. And then that might be the druid. All right. So the stories expansion can be pre-ordered right now for $15. And it includes all of these goodies. And Kickstarter backers are receiving the Tiny Epic Dungeons as well as the Tiny Epic Dungeon stories right now as we speak. So, got both of these. If you want to get both this together, you're looking at a pre-order price of $50. I don't know when they're going to hit stores. I would think once the Kickstarter fulfillment is completed, then these are going to pop into stores. But I did a late pledge. That's how I was able to get my copies of these now. Okay. Nick Townsend says, Tactics was a lot of fun. Tiny Epic Tactics. Malwinius is heading out. Yep, we're wrapping up the show as well. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, looks interesting. It does. It really does. That's one of the things, like I said, I'm always impressed. And you're probably sick of hearing me say this because this is the third time I've said this, but there's always so much packed into these tiny epic games, like Tiny Epic Zombies. I was like, holy cow, and I'm talking just the base game. I don't have any expansions to it. Just the base game was just jam packed with goodies. Paul Nolenson's great show. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. Speaking of, all right, come on, let's get on over to the other camera. Once again, I do want to remind everybody tomorrow is going to mark the 750th live stream, and there shall be giveaways, but you have to be watching live. Normally I do the giveaways and it's anybody. Not tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit different. And I will point out, if you are a fan of role-playing games, you will be more excited by the giveaways than if you are a board game fan. So just to point that out. But there will be giveaways, but you got to be watching live in order to score them. All right. That is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Gaming Gang Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first look at the Beetle and Grimm's Pathfinder Complete Character Chronicles, including the Rogue and the Wizard. If you play Pathfinder 2nd Edition and you missed checking this video out, by all means, definitely take a peek. These are really impressive. And the price point isn't insane on these either. So keep that in mind. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. If you hung out live, I definitely appreciate it. If you took part in chat, you got bonus XP for that. But I also know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch the stream live. Doesn't matter how you watch, when you watch, even if you're watching on Memorex, it's all the same. It's all super appreciated. So I'll be back tomorrow, and we are going to be taking a look at Starfinder Galactic Magic. So stop by, tune in for that. We are going to have a War Game Wednesday as well. Talk about what we're going to take a peek at on Wednesday on tomorrow's show. But of course, until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you always gets to have plenty of great gaming with your own gang. See you later. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.